I wish I knew what the date was, but sometimes I lost track of the time. And from that moment on, everything began to change and miracles began to change, and I felt God guiding in my life. And I was so excited. I said, Lord, I'd like to tell other people about what you've done for me. I just felt this joy. I began to witness to all of my friends, and I was reading the Bible and Christian things voraciously. I had a lot of time up in the cave. And I said, I want to be your witness. And God performed a miracle where after I said this, my mother talked to me.
You wanted to witness, and this had just started.
Yeah. But it was such good news for me. It had given me a purpose, and I felt the difference. It was unlike any religion I had tried. I felt a peace, I felt a purpose. There was a worldview that started making sense. And through a contact my mother had, she was working in Hollywood, she told a friend that her son, who is George Batchelor's son, is living in a cave. He said, that's a great human interest story. And NBC flew a helicopter to the cave to interview me right after I prayed, Lord, I'd like to tell the world about you. And I never dreamed that God would send a film crew to my cave and do an interview where I could...
And ever since, you basically have been on television for God.
Well, there was a spell of several years where I definitely was not on television. But that was one episode where God it was a defining moment. And from then, I've gone through, I was a layman. I eventually got my high school diploma through a GED study program and started a family. I sold firewood and did mechanic work.
What happened when you read in the Bible about baptism?
Well, the first time I was exposed to that, some Christians were hiking through the cave.
And right after our break, I'm going to find out what those people did. We'll be right back.
Hope Channel, the official television network of the Seventh-day Adventist Worldwide Church. A global network with 9 satellites, 2 uplink centers, and 7 individual channels. The Hope Channel Network ministers full-time in 9 languages, 24/7, to every kindred, nation, and tongue, reaching the world's 7 billion through more than 400 cable TV networks, more than 150 television stations, satellite broadcast, and the internet. In countries closed to Christianity, in crowded cities, to people hostile to the gospel, to your family, neighbors, and friends. To learn more about Hope Channel's exciting ministry or to order a Hope Channel dish, call 1-888-393-4673 or log on to www.hopetv.org. You can also write us at P.O. Box 4000, Silver Spring, Maryland, 20914, USA.
The people were walking past your cave, but you had found out about baptism.
Oh, every now and then hikers came by. I would encounter people up there, and some Christians came by and began to ask, are you a Christian? And I said, well, yes, I'd accepted Jesus. And these were Baptist Christians. They said, have you been baptized yet? And I hadn't really studied that part. And so they gave me a very quick study on baptism.
And
I went right into the water outside the cave, a beautiful pool, and they baptized me, and I felt born again because it was from melted snow. That was very cold water.
How'd you celebrate?
Well, I thought, this is great. Now I know I'm a Christian, and I hadn't had quite enough teaching because I went to town and I told the friends, hey, I got baptized today, let's celebrate. And I got some beer. And
beer?
Yeah.
That's how you celebrated baptism.
Got a 6-pack, began to celebrate my baptism, and before the day was over, I was arrested for indecent exposure. I told you I didn't always wear clothes. And I was there in jail in Palm Springs witnessing to my friends in jail about my baptism that morning.
Doug, since that, Jesus has done a lot for you.
Well, the Lord is so patient. He knew I was a baby Christian. I just didn't understand a lot of things. Subsequently, I've done a lot of studying. I learned some more things. I was later rebaptized. And I have not ever drunk since then. I've been to jail just to visit people. But, the Lord has made some remarkable changes in my life. And I just praise God that He, through His providence, has provided a way for me to have a life where I'm full-time now in ministry, sharing Christ with other people, telling what the Lord has done for me, and help people find that there's a purpose for their lives. That the most important purpose in the life is summed up in, you can do it in Matthew, 2 great utterances of Jesus. In Matthew 11, Jesus says, "Come unto me, and I will give you rest." And I invite people, come to Jesus. And then he says, go, in Matthew 28, and tell all the world. We come to Christ, he gives us purpose, and then we go tell people the good news that it's through Jesus. That's how we can find real life, and that's when you begin really living.
Doug, here we talk about really living and knowing Jesus, and Doug and I want to invite you today. I've already given myself to Jesus today, Doug. I do that regularly, every day. But today, Doug and I invite you. If you've never given your life to Jesus, today's the right day. He'll make of you something special. He says, I'll give you a life more abundant than you've ever thought of. Doug was living in a cave. His life had no meaning. But once he accepted Jesus, he says he was really living. He'll do it for you too. Doug and I invite you right there in your house, right in your living room, while looking at TV. Right now's the time. You say, Jesus, I want you to come into my life. I want to live for you. He'll take you just the way you are. You don't dress up for him. He meets you right where you are, and he says, yes, you are mine. And he gives you this abundant life right now. Bow your head and say, Jesus, I want to give myself to you.
If you've enjoyed today's topic on Really Living and would like more information, please visit us online at reallyliving.tv. On our site, you can also obtain directions for ordering DVDs of today's program, access updated schedule information, or submit story ideas. We look forward to your visit at www.reallyliving.tv.